Hey agents, welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm curious how many of you have noticed that Kerman Coffee exists in the Division series. I've spotted their signs in a screenshot of, I believe, the first Division game's New York streets. And there's a kiosk in the second phase of Division 2's Dark Hours raid at Washington National Airport. Where have you seen Kerman Coffee signs? I'd love to hear from you in the comments section, whether it's in Division 1 or Division 2. Let's see what's in the channel's highlighted comments. This looks interesting. It's from Fenrir. He asks, how do you go about finding people outside your clan or friend group to bounce ideas off of that aren't going to go to just preach the meta and are willing to be flexible in the building system? I ask because it seems like they're more copy-paste builds than anyone trying something out of pocket. That's a great question, Fenrir. I'm sure there are other viewers of this channel who are wondering the same thing. A first step is to ensure you have a headset. Some people use their controller microphones, but doing so creates a lot of annoying feedback and echoes because the microphone is picking up their TVs. If this applies to some of you, please turn the TV down as a courtesy. It's very difficult to speak to someone when you hear a delayed echo of your own voice coming back at you into your headset. Also, turn down the music in your room. A second step would be to inspect people's builds. If you have experience in this, it's very easy to determine if they know what they're doing. I do have to be a little careful, as sometimes they'll sport the Ninjabike backpack, so their builds may not make sense at first glance. So you may have to study their builds more closely. I've seen some high-level players with baloney builds, where there is no rhyme or reason why anyone would want to approach a build in that way. I suspect they call in backup and get randoms to help them do the heavy lifting. Generally, when I find that this is the case of the person calling for backup, I'll politely exit the session. There are 2 bugs every agent should all be aware of in the inspect feature of the game. First, when you inspect a player's build, there is a lag. They may have already loaded a different build or changed a gear item. It can take a couple of minutes for the game system to refresh and show you that player's build more accurately. Second, and this one gets me the most, if you view the stats of a player, you might not see accurate stats. What the game displays for you are sometimes lower than what the player actually sees. I've had some pushy players inspect me, then immediately begin to criticize my stats. I've had to politely say, hey, thank you for weighing in. Do you know about the inspect bug? What you see on your end isn't accurate. It's bugged. That usually diffuses them. If I feel a player needs some help, I'll be very diplomatic and try to establish friendly rapport in this way. I'll say, hey, if I may, I noticed something about your build. But there's an inspect bug in the game, so what I see may not be the same as what you see on your end. Those 2 suggestions have gone very well for me. And then a final step would be to ask an open-ended question. What I mean by that is to ask a question in a way where you get more than a yes or no answer. Then, by listening to how they respond, you can get a sense of their character, knowledge, and competence. I might ask people, hey, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Or, how do you generally solve this challenge? And how about, what about this build works for you? What do you feel are its weaknesses? And if you could change something, what would you like to see that build do? To all watching this, I'm curious what has worked for you in finding the right people to connect with. In the past, I've played with random players. After we achieve victory, and I get a sense that they were not only competent, they helped me, and they knew how to get the squad to reinforce each other. After a victory, it's the conversations that are very insightful. That's when I like to ask them questions, and perhaps pick their brain a little. I'm not against the copy-paste approach because some content creators have great ideas at times. What's important is that the player who adopted the builds understand how they work. If they sport a build that I don't yet understand, I might ask them, you've got an interesting loadout there. Could you walk me through what your thought process was in approaching a build that way? I'm sure you've tried open-ended questions in various aspects of life. I'm confident you'll come up with great ones for your journey ahead. I hope that helps. And to all who are watching this, what's helped you navigate this in your own playing experience? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. That's it for this one. Until the next video, peace out, stay strong, stay caffeinated, and stay dangerous.